Hey everyone, this is Susan at EVPL Red Bank, and today I'd like to show you how to make two versions of a CDC-approved face mask. So one is going to be this no-sew version, and one is going to be a sewn version. Now I'm using bandanas for both of them just because they're on hand. The bandana I think is a little bit more needed for the no-sew, but for the sewn version, you can use any kind of tightly woven cotton fabric. You can use bed sheets, you can use bandanas, you can use quilting fabric. The CDC says you can use a t-shirt in a pinch, but it's not recommended if you have a better alternative like a bandana or a bed sheet. And make sure that they're 100% cotton as well. Now that being said, let's get to it. So for the no-sew version, you are going to take the bottom of your bandana and you're going to fold it towards the top. Then you're going to take the new bottom and fold it towards the middle. Smooth it out. And the same with the top towards the middle. And then you're going to bring in your handy dandy hair ties. And you can use this, you can use rubber bands. I just happen to have hair ties on hand. And you're going to pull them in towards the center so that they kind of separate the fabric into thirds-ish. It can be a little bit difficult to finesse, especially with a stiffer fabric, but you're good to go. And it should look a little bit kind of like an old-timey candy. And what you do is you fold both outsides toward the inside. And on one side, there's a lot of fabric layers. You just take the one nearest to you and you open it a little for a little extra security. And you tuck the other one inside, like so. Now you put your hand down firmly, and you just pull what's going to be the ear flaps, those are your hair ties, just to get them a little bit looser. And there you have it. That's how you have your no-sew face mask. Now, if you want something a little bit sturdier, you can try and sew one, which is also very easy. And if you need any additional details, it's all on the CDC website. What you're going to need is some bandana fabric or bedsheet fabric, any kind of tightly woven cloth that's made out of cotton. And you're going to cut them into a 10-inch by 6-inch strip. Now, I use 2 bandanas because a lot of the face mask materials say that it's good to keep multiple colors for the inside and the outside. That's not necessary. It's just a lot easier when you're picking up your mask to know which one's the front and which one's the back. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the sides that are a little bit bolder and you're going to have them be on the outside, and then the wrong sides are going to be on the inside because no one's going to be seeing that. And so what you would do is you would fold your top and your bottom into a 1/4 inch-ish seam. Now, I'm going a little bit thicker than that just because it's a little bit easier to see. I don't think it matters within reason. And what you're going to do, if you have a pin, I would recommend pinning the fabric down just so that it stays. And that way, when you sew across, it'll stay in that same position. You won't have to keep repinching all the way across. And so then you are going to get a needle and thread. I don't know if that's 100% visible. And you are going to knot your thread. And you are going to take your needle and you are going to go down. Leave until there's a little bit of a loop. And then you are going to go back up. And that is called a running stitch. This is how you secure your knot. You pull the needle through that loop you first made and pull tight. And then you're going to go all the way down, and for every seam for the rest of it, you're going to go down and then back up. And so just to show a couple more times, you're going to go down and then back up and then down, and then back up. And that is going to make a running stitch where you can kind of see it looks a little bit like a dotted line. And so from there, once you've done that, you are going to have both seams done about 1/4 inch. You are going to take the 2 side seams and you're going to repeat the same process, only you are going to do about 1/2 inch so that you have more room. And this is so that if you sew it flat like this, you'll have room to thread through some elastic, some ribbon, some strong string or cord, preferably something stretchy. Or the other method that you can do is you can do what I've done here, and you can sew in a rubber band. And so the way that you would do that is a little bit different from the just folding it over and sewing and then putting it in. What you're going to do from there is you are going to take your fabric and you're going to take your rubber band, and I would recommend stretching your rubber band, this takes a little bit of finessing, with your pinkies, and then fitting the fabric through and folding it over the rubber band. And it's going to, if you just let go, just scrunch up, and that's going to be really hard to sew. So what I'd recommend is keep it open with your pinkies. And then if you do have pins, if you don't have pins, you can use safety pins. You can use anything that sticks. Try and straighten it as much as you can and pin it down. And when you pin it, it's going to make the fabric a little bit stronger or a little bit straighter. And notice it's just going to go around the rubber band now because it's got that structure of the pins. And what you're going to do from there is the exact same thing that you did with these seams. You are just going to make a little knot. You're going to go down and back up, and you can secure it, that first stitch, by sewing between the double thread on the end of the thread. And you're just going to go down, whoops, and up. And if you want to, if you're brave or you do a lot of sewing, you can go down and up without having to pull it through every time. And that's called rocking. And you can even try and do that a couple times, going down and up and down and up. Only thing that's a risk with this is it might not be as straight a seam, and also it kind of puckers the fabric, so you might want to run your finger over it a couple times. And you would just follow that running stitch all the way down. This is also a much faster way of doing the running stitch. And then when you get to the end, you're going to go down one last time and up one last time. Make sure you don't get anything tangled in your rubber band. Try and keep that clear. And then you are going to either do another down and up just in that space between your last stitch and where you currently are, or you can just put your needle through the last stitch and pull until it makes a loop. And then put your needle through and pull until it makes another loop. Put your needle through the loop again, and then pull tight. And then once you've pulled tight, you can even put your needle through the last few stitches that are visible, just to make sure that the thread doesn't get loose. And once you've done that, you are going to cut your thread. And notice the rubber band is still going to be, most of it's going to be inside the loop. So you're just going to pull, try and pull gently so you don't snap the rubber band. And that should look the same way this does. Now on the other side, if you did do the way that you just sew all the way down, there's an easy way to thread through if you don't have a big needle. Is you take your elastic or your ribbon, whatever you use, preferably something stretchy, and you're going to put a safety pin through it. And what you do there is you take the safety pin and you just stick it inside the loop, and you're going to feel for that head of the safety pin and just pull it through. And when you get towards this area where you can see the seam, you might want to open it up a little so that it doesn't get caught in these little rough edges that are hiding in this tube. And you would pull the head of the safety pin through. Notice you have your string. Take that out, and then you can just make an easy double knot where you just hold the two together and you wrap it around and you pull it through. And then from there, if you don't want to see that knot, you can just pull one end of it. And not only will this kind of scrunch up your fabric like you want, but it'll also pull the knot through the tube and into the tube, if you pull tight enough, so that it will become invisible. And there you have it. That's 2 ways on how to make a CDC-approved face mask. If you like this video or if you make your own, please make sure to follow us on social media. We'd love to see what you make. We are EVPL Library with 1 L across all platforms. I hope you're safe and well, and you have a great day.